Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about something called Minetest. Now Minetest is a free game that you can download that has an excellent modding API. And so this series is going to be about how to make a mod for Minetest. It's going to be a simple mod that will just go through the basics of everything from block creation to tool creation to actually making these useful in the game. And so the first thing that we're going to do is head over to minetest.net. We're going to go and we're going to download this game. Now it usually comes in a zip file. For those that don't have the 64-bit computer, which is normally going to be an older machine, go ahead and download the 32 one, but I'm going to download the 64. And I'm just going to save this to my desktop. Alright, so we have it on our desktop. We're going to right click, hit extract all, and I'm just going to extract it right into that desktop area because it has a folder inside of it. Alright, so now we have our extracted folder here. We are going to rename this to Minetest. So what we're doing here is just creating our basic workspace so that we can be doing this efficiently and making our mods efficiently. So if we open up Minetest, we're just going to go into the bin folder and run this exe here, and just to test to make sure it works. Okay. So this is Minetest, and this is what we'll be modding. And so let's just make a world, and we'll call this testing center. And that looks good. Let's create it. And now we're gonna play this. We're just gonna make sure everything's working properly and we have it all set up. Alright, so this is a Minetest world. And as you can see, it's all loaded up properly. We have the whole world generated and everything. And so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna, if you see that ore right there, that is coal. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a new type of ore, and we're going to be making it so that we can mine this ore and we can make tools out of it. So let's just exit to the menu, and actually we can close out of Minetest. And let's go into our main Minetest folder. Let's look at what we have here. We have a mods folder, and in this mods folder you have a mods here.txt. You can go ahead and delete that. We don't really need it. So now we're going to create a new folder for our mod name. Now, basically it's a good idea to use lowercase letters. You can use numbers, but no spaces, just kind of, so something like this. Smiley blocks. Or what I'm going to do today is use emotion blocks as the name. It's kind of, actually that's a little long. We're going to call it Smiley B. Alright, bad name, probably not a good for using in the real world, but this is just a test. So now we're going to create another new folder, and we're going to call this textures. Now that's where we're going to store all of the textures for our blocks, that we'll be making. So next we're going to create two files. One is going to be depends.txt. Now this tells Minetest what mods we need loaded before. And really, we don't need a whole lot loaded before. We just need the default Minetest loaded up before we load this. So we're going to just say default. And we're going to save that. And we're going to create one more called init.lua, because Minetest uses, the language that Minetest uses is called Lua. We're not going to dive into the mechanics of Lua too much in this series because that's not what it's about. But just to know a little bit about what Lua is, it is a higher level programming language which I believe is based on C. And so, it can be very useful to learn this for the modding purposes because then you can really get into learning how to manipulate Minetest on a bigger level. But for now, we're just going to work on the basic Minetest API that was already built out by the framework of Minetest. Now, before we end this episode, let's talk about your text editor. You can use anything you would like. You could use, whether it's Notepad, like here, like you would use for a text document, or whether it's Notepad++, which is my preferred text editor, but that is certainly not for everyone. So you could use any text editor that's of your choice, or code editor, or whatever you choose to use. But for the purposes of this series, I'm going to be using Notepad++. So what we've covered today is what Minetest is. We've created a basic work layout for our mod. We're going to store all the information about our blocks in this init.lua. Now, here's another thing that I should mention at this point. You could also create a new Lua file called, for example, nodes.lua. And you could use this nodes.lua to store all the information about your blocks in here, and you would be perfectly fine. Now, you would also have to include this in your init.lua because this file is going to initialize everything. This is what's going to bring everything into the mod. But for the purposes of this tutorial, to keep everything neat and tidy together, we are going to be just using one file, and this is going to be our init.lua file, and we are going to store all the information in this file here. And so we'll have nodes layout, we'll have tools specified, we'll have crafting recipes, all in this file here. Alright, so I hope this was helpful, and I hope that this series is something that can be of use to many of you. I haven't seen anything like this out there yet, but I am hoping that this can be educational in a good way so that you can actually get out there and start making mods. Now, another thing that I'm going to mention at this point is Minetest is not Minecraft. It is a very good sandbox game. I think that it has come along very nicely, but Minecraft is a game that's right there, ready for you to open, ready for you to use. Minetest is something that's very customizable, and it's something that we need to be innovative with. You can customize this to the point where you have perfected the game to how you want to see it. And it's not about being a Minecraft clone. It's about being an innovative new idea that we can take and we can make our ideas part of. So, with that, I'm going to leave you all. What we're going to be doing next is creating a new OR, and it's going to be a new node structure, and we're going to have some placeable blocks and all that fun stuff. So, come back next time to actually start getting into the guts of modding.